Imagine sitting across from someone on a first date, watching their smile completely vanish the moment the waiter drops the menu on the table. You notice their hands start to shake, and their eyes fill with pure panic. In that exact second, you realize they are hiding a secret, so heavy it could crush them. Most people would judge, most people would walk away. But what happened next on this specific night changed two lives forever. And it all started with a truth that nobody saw coming. Before we dive into what happened, welcome to Kindness Journey. If you love powerful, real-life stories that make you believe in the goodness of people again, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us keep spreading these incredible moments. My name is Daniel. To understand this story, we have to go back exactly 3 years ago. At that time, I was 34 years old and running my own successful construction company out in Chicago. On paper, my life looked perfect. Business was booming, and money wasn't an issue. But honestly, my personal life was totally empty. I had spent so many years focusing only on work that I forgot to actually live. Eventually, I decided it was time to get back out there and start dating. That is when a mutual friend introduced me to Emily. We started texting back and forth for a few weeks, and right away, I knew she was different. She was incredibly kind, genuinely funny, and totally down to earth. She never tried to show off or act like someone she wasn't. She was just real. When I finally asked her out to dinner, she seemed a bit unsure at first, but she eventually said yes. We picked a beautiful spot with a perfect view of the city skyline. The night started out amazing. We laughed, talked about our childhood memories, our families, and what we wanted out of the future. Emily told me she was a teacher at a public elementary school. It was obvious she adored her students, even though everyone knows teaching doesn't pay very much. The more she talked, the more I liked her. But then, the mood completely shifted. The waiter walked over and handed us the menus. As Emily looked down at the prices, her face went pale. The warmth in her eyes just disappeared. She became completely quiet. I noticed the sudden change instantly, but I decided not to bring it up right away. For the rest of the dinner, she was totally checked out. She barely even touched her plate. Every single time the waiter walked past our table, she looked terrified. Finally, the meal ended and the bill arrived. Emily took a deep, shaky breath and stared down at the table. When she finally looked up at me, her eyes were filled with pure shame. "Daniel, I am so incredibly sorry," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I can't pay for this." She looked away, unable to even meet my eyes. "I know this looks terrible," she whispered. "I really thought I could handle it. But my car completely broke down this week, and the repair bill took everything I had. I didn't want to cancel on you because I was so excited to meet you, but now I just feel awful." Her voice cracked. She was sitting there trembling, just waiting for me to get angry, judge her, or show disappointment. Instead, I just smiled at her, and then I told her something that absolutely shocked her. "Emily," I said gently, "I invited you out tonight. I never expected you to pay a single cent." She looked at me, totally confused. "But that is not the real surprise," I continued. "The real surprise is that a few years ago, I was sitting in the exact same seat you are in right now." Her eyes went wide. "People see me today and assume I've always had money, but that is a lie," I told her. I opened up and shared something I had never told anyone on a first date before. I told her about the dark years when my dad got terribly sick. I had to work 2 different jobs just to keep my family afloat. There were literally days when I skipped dinner entirely, just so my little sister would have enough to eat. I knew exactly what it felt like to live with that constant fear, stress, and the deep embarrassment of having an empty bank account. Then, I told her about the night that changed everything. During those broke years, a complete stranger saved me. I was standing in a grocery store line in the dead of winter, realizing I didn't have enough money to pay for my food. A man standing behind me quietly stepped up and paid my entire bill. He didn't want praise. He didn't even want his money back. He just looked at me and said, "When you are back on your feet, Just help someone else. That one moment rewires your brain. It reminds you that human kindness is worth way more than cash. Emily just sat there listening, tears rolling down her cheeks. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my wallet, and showed her an old, scratched-up photograph. It was a picture of me and my dad from those exact struggling years. Success didn't make me the man I am today, I told her. Kindness did. For a long moment, the restaurant around us went completely quiet. Then Emily smiled through her tears. "Nobody has ever said anything like that to me before," she whispered. The heavy awkwardness completely evaporated. We stayed at that table for another hour, just talking, laughing, and sharing stories. By the time we left, it felt like we had been best friends for years. As the months went by, we kept dating, and the more I learned about Emily, the more amazed I was. I found out she was secretly spending her own tiny paychecks to buy school supplies for poor kids in her class whose parents couldn't afford them. She never bragged about it. She just did it because she genuinely cared. Watching her love people like that reminded me so much of the stranger who saved me in the grocery line all those years ago. Exactly 1 year later, I asked her to marry me. Today, Emily is my wife. Together, we built a community charity program that feeds hungry kids and provides school supplies to families who are struggling. Every single time we help a child, we think back to that quiet conversation at the restaurant table. Looking back, I know that night was never actually about a first date. It was a lesson that everyone around us is fighting a quiet battle we know nothing about. A little bit of empathy can wash away someone's deepest shame. A small act of grace can give someone the hope to keep going. And sometimes, one unexpected moment of generosity can completely rewrite the story of a person's life. So, if you ever get the chance to lift someone up, please take it. Never underestimate how powerful a small gesture can be. You have no idea how far your love will travel. The simple kindness you give to someone today might just be the exact reason they choose to keep believing in tomorrow. And that is where the real power lives.